America, the land of plenty. Or so we thought. For generations we've prided ourselves on our ability to produce an abundance of food, feeding not just our own population but also exporting to the world. Our farms stretch across vast landscapes, and our markets overflow with fresh produce. But beneath this veneer of plenty, a troubling reality is emerging. A creeping unease is settling across the nation as grocery store shelves tell a different story. Dairy cases sit half empty. Pasta aisles dwindle. The once reliable supply chains are showing signs of strain, and the impact is visible in our everyday shopping experiences. Even the humble potato, a staple in many households, seems harder to come by. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a signal of deeper issues within our food system. What's going on? Are we facing a future of food shortages? The sight of empty shelves and worried shoppers raises alarm bells. It's a question that demands answers and action. The answer, unfortunately, is more complex than a simple yes or no. Economists and experts point to a web of factors from climate change affecting crop yields to labor shortages and disruptions in global trade. Each element intertwines, creating a fragile system that can easily be disrupted. But one thing is clear, the abundance we've come to expect is no longer a guarantee. The days of taking our food supply for granted may be over, and we must adapt to this new reality. It's time to take a hard look at our food system and ask some tough questions. How did we get here? What can be done to ensure a stable and secure food supply for the future? These are questions that require collective effort and innovative solutions. The cracks are starting to show, and for many Americans, the reality of food insecurity is hitting home. Families are finding it harder to put nutritious meals on the table, and food banks are seeing increased demand. We're accustomed to a vast and varied diet, yet the staples we rely on are becoming increasingly vulnerable. The diversity of our meals is at risk, and with it, our health and well-being. It's not just about inconvenience, it's about the fundamental right to affordable, nutritious food. Access to food is a basic human right, and when that access is threatened, it affects every aspect of our lives. We need to understand the forces at play and demand transparency from our leaders. Policies and decisions made at the highest levels have a direct impact on our food security, and it's crucial that we hold those in power accountable. Our plates and our future may depend on it. As we navigate these challenges, we must come together as a community to support one another and advocate for a resilient and equitable food system. The choices we make today will shape the world we live in tomorrow. Let's start with a familiar sight, the dairy aisle. Once a place of abundance, it's now a stark reminder of the challenges facing the dairy industry. Once overflowing with milk, cheese, and yogurt, it's now a scene of shrinking options and rising prices. The variety that consumers once took for granted is dwindling, and the cost of these essential items is climbing higher and higher. The reasons are complex, but one thing is clear: producing milk is becoming increasingly difficult and expensive. Dairy farmers are facing a multitude of challenges that are making it harder to keep their operations running smoothly. Farmers are struggling with rising feed costs, labor shortages, and extreme weather conditions. The cost of feed has skyrocketed, making it more expensive to nourish their herds. Additionally, finding and retaining labor has become a significant hurdle, with fewer people willing to work the demanding hours required on a dairy farm. Drought in key dairy states has withered pastures and driven up the cost of feed, putting a strain on already tight margins. The lack of rain has left fields barren, and the cost of importing feed from other regions has added to the financial burden on farmers. Many dairy farmers, facing mounting debt and an uncertain future, are being forced to sell their herds and shut down their operations. The emotional toll of letting go of a family business that has been passed down through generations is immense, and the economic impact on rural communities is profound. The consequences are being felt nationwide. As more farms close, the supply of milk decreases, leading to shortages in grocery stores across the country. Consumers are noticing the empty shelves and the limited selection of dairy products available. Milk production is down, and processors are struggling to keep up with demand. The reduced supply of raw milk has led to lower activity in processing plants, and bottling lines that once ran at full capacity are now operating at a fraction of their potential. This has led to higher prices for consumers, with the average price of a gallon of milk increasing significantly in recent months. Shoppers are feeling the pinch as they see their grocery bills rise, and the cost of milk becomes a larger portion of their budget. For families struggling to make ends meet, this can mean tough choices at the checkout line. Deciding between buying milk or other essential items is a reality for many, and the increased cost of dairy products is adding to the financial strain on households. The dairy dilemma is a stark reminder of the fragility of our food system and the interconnectedness of our agricultural economy. The challenges faced by dairy farmers have a ripple effect that impacts the entire supply chain, from the farm to the grocery store and ultimately to the consumer's table. It's a complex issue that requires attention and action to ensure the sustainability of our food supply. Pasta, a pantry staple in millions of homes, is also feeling the pinch. While not as immediately affected as dairy, the pasta aisle is showing signs of strain. The culprit? Durum wheat, the hard, high-protein wheat used to make most dried pasta. The United States, while not the largest producer of durum, relies on imports to meet domestic demand. And here's where things get complicated. Geopolitical tensions, particularly with Russia and Ukraine, have disrupted global wheat markets. Both countries are major durum exporters, and the ongoing conflict has thrown the supply chain into disarray. This instability has led to price volatility and uncertainty for pasta producers. While there haven't been widespread shortages yet, the potential is there. Experts warn that if the conflict continues or if other major durum-producing regions experience weather-related disruptions, we could see empty shelves in the pasta aisle. This highlights the interconnectedness of our global food system and the vulnerability of relying on imports for essential staples. The humble spud, no longer a sure thing. Even the potato, that reliable and versatile root vegetable, isn't immune to the challenges facing our food system. While not experiencing the same level of disruption as dairy or pasta, potato farmers are grappling with their own set of problems. Rising input costs, particularly for fertilizer and fuel, are squeezing profit margins. Labor shortages are making it difficult to find workers for planting, harvesting, and processing. And extreme weather events from droughts to floods are impacting yields and quality. These challenges are starting to be reflected in the marketplace. Prices for potatoes, both fresh and processed, are on the rise. While not yet at crisis levels, these increases are putting a strain on consumers and businesses alike. The potato's vulnerability underscores the interconnectedness of our food system and the far-reaching impacts of climate change, geopolitical instability, and economic uncertainty. The numbers game, what the USDA isn't saying. The United States Department of Agriculture, or USDA, is tasked with monitoring our food supply and providing data on agricultural production. This data is crucial for farmers, policymakers, and consumers alike, as it helps inform decisions that affect the entire food supply chain. But are they telling us the whole story? The USDA's reports are often seen as the gold standard for agricultural data, but there's growing concern that these reports may not be as transparent or timely as they should be. Critics argue that the USDA's reporting is often opaque, lagging behind real-time conditions, and potentially downplaying the severity of the situation. This lack of transparency can lead to significant issues for those who rely on this data to make informed decisions. For example, the USDA's monthly crop reports, while providing valuable information, are based on surveys and estimates that can be inaccurate or incomplete. These reports are meant to give a snapshot of the agricultural landscape, but they often fall short of capturing the full picture. There are concerns that the data collection methods don't adequately capture the on-the-ground realities facing farmers and ranchers. The surveys used by the USDA may not reach all farmers, and those who do respond may not provide a complete or accurate account of their situation. Furthermore, the USDA's focus on aggregate national data can mask regional disparities and obscure the experiences of individual producers. While national averages can provide a broad overview, they often fail to reflect the challenges faced by farmers in specific regions. A national average might show sufficient supply, but it doesn't tell us about the dairy farmer in Wisconsin forced to dump milk because of processing plant closures. These closures can have a devastating impact on local farmers who may have no other options for selling their products, or the potato farmer in Idaho struggling to find buyers for his crop due to transportation bottlenecks. These bottlenecks can lead to significant financial losses for farmers who may be unable to get their products to market in a timely manner. The lack of granular, real-time data makes it difficult to assess the true scope of the problem and develop effective solutions. Without accurate and timely information, policymakers and industry leaders are left in the dark, unable to respond effectively to emerging challenges. To address these issues, there's a growing call for the USDA to adopt more advanced data collection methods. Technologies such as satellite imagery, remote sensing, and real-time data analytics could provide a more accurate and comprehensive picture of the agricultural landscape. By leveraging these technologies, the USDA could improve the accuracy and timeliness of its reports, providing farmers, policymakers, and consumers with the information they need to make informed decisions. This would not only help address current challenges but also better prepare the agricultural sector for future uncertainties. Ultimately, greater transparency and more accurate data could lead to a more resilient and sustainable agricultural system, benefiting everyone from the farmers in the fields to the consumers at the grocery store. It's time for the USDA to step up and provide the comprehensive, real-time data that our agricultural sector needs to thrive.